today's story, which we are reading from Aaron Lazar's. Of course, we're reading this for two reasons. That we should be inspired, and Aaron Lazar should have nachas. And Aaron Lazar's nachas is that we should be inspired. I never heard this from him. And this is what he relates by Fabrengen. I will translate, friends. When I was a Bacher, says Aaron Lazar, I once was in Yechidus. And at that time, I was depressed. Shori b'morah. I had many problems. And I wanted to pour them out before the Rebbe and ask his holy advice. So I sat and wrote the letter, and I'm trying to express essentially everything as much as possible. And that I shouldn't elaborate more than necessary. You know, the Rebbe's time is precious. And especially, he says, I had difficulty writing the letter because we're talking spiritual matters. Nafshim, Gishim, soul, and deeply emotional. Better word than emotional. Anyway, and when you write them, you have to write them truly. And it's not easy to express that in writing, these struggles and emotions that Geshim. So he says, I sat and wrote for a long time. I wrote and I erased and I erased and I wrote until the letter was finally Masudr, laid out and Masudr. When I went into Yechidus Rebbe's holy room, he says my knees were shaking. And it only intensified when I gave my pan into the Rebbe's holy hands. So I'm standing there facing the Rebbe. Now he's tall. I'm adding this. So he could see, because I could see how the Rebbe is going over the letter. The Rebbe used to do it like this, as you know, like this. So he could see with, from the hand and the eye, which part of the letter the Rebbe is on. And I knew at each paragraph exactly what the Rebbe is reading from where his eyes were on the paper. And I'm thinking, the Rebbe is going to show, some kind of dissatisfaction and lack of, or uncomfortability reading my Matzah Baruchnius. Instead, what he's saying, friends, some reaction in the Rebbe's face, the Rebbe's eyes. And I'm watching carefully as the Rebbe's reading every paragraph. And each time he passed a paragraph and there was no reaction, he says, a stone went off my heart. That passed. So finally, the Rebbe finishes reading my letter. He looks at me and he says, it's in Hebrew, it doesn't quote the original Yiddish. He got the story, yeah? He's poured out his heart and he says, brutally honest. The Rebbe's response? There's no time to be zich van nemen, I'm assuming, to be involved in all that you write. Much better, use the time to learn Torah, Nigla, and Chassidus, Basmado Shkida with English. Basmado Shkida means not wasting time. Devoted, there's a word for it.
Diligence.
Huh?
Diligence.
Diligence is a good word, yeah. Daven like as you should. Keep mitzvahs behidden and be involved in afatas hamayonas. She says, Aaron Lazar, this was a revolution for me. And I'm just going to send, the Rebbe is not saying, forget the past, like, don't worry about it. No, he's saying, is allos. In English, in Hebrew, not is almos, is allos. We're not ignoring and pretending this never happened. But lift yourself. The eitzet, all of that is, lift yourself. You have to know where you're coming from and where you're going. and to reach a higher place and just be involved, devote yourself to a higher place, that's the eight. This is the Rebbe's way, as we all know, B'chalal, and a very powerful message for all of us, each one in our avodah. Okay, Yidden, have a wonderful day. Psudas Tovas all around.